When I first arrived here, I was nothing like I am now. I was confused, a walking contradiction. But now I know who I am. I can say to the world, hey, this is me. I am woman, and I like me.
1993 is remembered as one of the strongest movie years of the entire decade. It gave us massive hits, genre-defining blockbusters, and some of the most iconic films of the 90s.
Oh, come on! Come on!
But while those movies dominated the spotlight, there was a whole other category of releases quietly happening at the same time. Films that were misunderstood, poorly marketed, critically rejected, or simply crushed by the competition at the box office. These were the movies that built loyal followings and became fixtures of late-night TV, cult screenings, and nostalgic rewatches. The movies that struggled when they first hit theaters, but refused to stay forgotten. Let's start with the most notorious video game movie ever made. Super Mario Bros. Was a massive financial disappointment and a critical disaster when it was released. The tone confused families, the story barely resembled the game, and behind-the-scenes chaos completely derailed what was supposed to be Nintendo's biggest Hollywood debut. At the time, it was considered an outright failure. But over the years, something strange happened. The movie didn't vanish. It became a fascination. Fans began revisiting it, dissecting it, quoting it. It's now one of the most discussed cult films of the 90s. Not because it's faithful or polished, but because nothing else remotely like it ever existed. Loaded Weapon 1 arrived during the wave of parody movies and tried to ride the success of Lethal Weapon and Naked Gun.
Most of all, he is gun happy.
Where do you get off saying that?
Instead, it got lost in the shuffle. Critics were unimpressed, ticket sales were weak, and it never came close to matching the popularity of other spoof films from the era. But in the years since...
I know what you're thinking. Punk, did he fire 173 times or 174?
It quietly became a cable TV favorite. The cast, the relentless joke-per-minute pacing, and the absurd escalation of the plot have earned it a dedicated fan base. It didn't fail because it was unwatchable. It failed because it came out at the wrong time in an already overcrowded parody market.
You should always wear your hair down.
For you, I always will.
My Boyfriend's Back is one of those movies that simply slipped through the cracks. It didn't generate buzz, didn't attract much attention, and quietly disappeared.
See you tomorrow. No, wait, everything's fine. Don't leave. Minor setback.
Johnny, look at you.
I'm fine. Nothing else is gonna fall off.
Years later, people rediscovered it on VHS and cable. A teen zombie romantic comedy shouldn't work, but somehow it does. The tone is light, the premise is unusual, and the movie has a weirdly sincere emotional core. It never became mainstream, but it became a cult favorite among people who love offbeat 90s teen movies.
Hey, quit it!
If you're gonna kill him, you're gonna have to kill me. I mean it.
Summer rolled around, and Weekend at Bernie's 2 came out. Expectations were already low.
Get on up! Get on up!
The original movie had already been a hit, but critics didn't like it, and the sequel doubled down on the absurdity. Reviews were harsh, and the box office numbers fell sharply compared to the first film. But despite that, the sequel didn't disappear. It kept getting replayed. People kept quoting it, and for fans of ridiculous physical comedy, it became part of the same weird comfort movie category as the original. It wasn't successful, but it absolutely survived in pop culture. RoboCop 3 is widely considered the weakest entry in the trilogy.
7 to dispatch, we have a code 3.
The budget was slashed, the tone was softened, the original lead actor didn't return, and critics dismissed it immediately. The movie underperformed financially and effectively ended the franchise's original run. But even with all that, it didn't vanish. Over time, fans of the franchise revisited it out of curiosity, and some ended up appreciating it as a strange, experimental entry. It's not loved for being great, it's remembered because it represents a weird turning point in one of the most important sci-fi franchises of the 80s.
She said no.
Huh?
Maybe you have a hearing problem. Go home, young lady. You are in violation of curfew.
Now this one is important to get right. The Crush actually made money. It reportedly grossed roughly double its modest budget, so it was not a financial failure. But critically, it was destroyed. Reviewers called it exploitative, scuzzy, and uncomfortable. Many theaters pulled it right after Backlash, and it developed a reputation as something people weren't supposed to like. The controversy is exactly what gave it a second life. Not because it was praised, but because people couldn't stop talking about how disturbing and strange it was. It's now remembered as one of the most ill-famed psychological thrillers of the early 90s, and an important early role for Alicia Silverstone.
Was sneaking in to watch me undress a mistake too?
What?
You want to?
Now look, let's avoid any confusion here. I'm gonna make this very simple for you. You're too young for me. There's nothing between us, nothing.
The Meteor Man was ambitious, expensive, and well-intentioned. It was one of the first mainstream superhero movies centered around a black lead character. And it featured a massive cast of major stars in supporting roles. But it struggled at the box office. Reviews were mixed. Marketing didn't know how to sell it, and it faded out quickly. Years later, though, it gained recognition as a cultural milestone. It's now seen as an important step towards superhero films, and a nostalgic favorite for people who grew up watching it on home video. It didn't change the genre, but it helped open the door. These were the 1993 movies that didn't connect with critics or box offices when they first arrived.
It's pepperoni with extra cheese.
Why should I pay for it? I didn't order a...
But still managed to carve out a permanent place in pop culture. These weren't blockbusters. They weren't beloved at the time, but they were resilient, and sometimes staying power matters more than opening weekend ever could.
Fuck them. And fuck you! I can't do this anymore!
Let's get it to us. We've worked so hard on this, Daniel. Everything we've done could go out the window. I've been invited to Washington!